The Middle East is now witnessing one of the most dangerous escalations in recent history as the conflict between Iran, the United States, Israel, and their regional allies intensifies into a full-spectrum confrontation. What began with large-scale U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran on February 28, 2026 has rapidly evolved into a multi-front war stretching across the Gulf, Iraq, and beyond. In the weeks since, Iran has launched sustained retaliatory attacks using drones, ballistic missiles, and precision strikes, targeting both military installations and critical infrastructure across Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, and other allied states. At the same time, the conflict has shaken global energy markets and disrupted shipping routes through the Strait of Hormuz, pushing oil prices sharply higher and raising fears of a broader regional war. One of the most significant developments in this escalating conflict has been the reported destruction of a key U.S.-made air defense radar system in Saudi Arabia. According to defense reports, an Iranian drone strike targeted and destroyed an AN/FPS-117 long-range early warning radar near Al Qaisuma Airport in northeastern Saudi Arabia. This radar system is a critical component of modern air defense architecture. It functions as the eyes of the network, capable of detecting aircraft, drones, and missiles hundreds of kilometers away, providing the early warning necessary for interception systems to respond. Its destruction represents more than just a tactical success. It highlights a broader strategic approach. Rather than overwhelming missile defense systems directly, Iranian forces appear to be targeting surveillance and detection infrastructure, effectively reducing the ability of defenders to see incoming threats in time. This strike is not an isolated event. Reports suggest that similar high-value radar systems across the region, including installations in Qatar, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates, have been targeted or damaged in recent attacks. These systems form the backbone of the region's integrated air defense network, and their degradation could significantly weaken overall defensive capabilities. Since the beginning of the war, multiple Gulf countries have experienced repeated missile and drone strikes. Saudi Arabia has faced attacks on oil refineries, air bases, and intelligence facilities. Bahrain has also been struck, including areas near the headquarters of the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet, resulting in casualties and damage to infrastructure. These attacks demonstrate both the scale and precision of Iran's retaliatory capabilities, as well as the vulnerability of even heavily fortified targets. At the same time, questions are being raised about the effectiveness of Western air defense systems under sustained pressure. Reports and circulating footage from the Gulf region suggest that multiple interceptor missiles have been launched in attempts to stop incoming threats, yet in some cases have failed to prevent impact. In one reported incident near a key port in the United Arab Emirates, ballistic missiles were seen striking critical oil infrastructure despite repeated interception attempts. Multiple interceptor missiles were launched, but the incoming projectiles continued on their trajectory. While such footage cannot always be independently verified, the broader concern is widely acknowledged among defense analysts. Modern missile defense systems rely on a chain of capabilities, early detection, accurate tracking, and timely interception. If radar systems are disabled or degraded, the entire chain becomes vulnerable. This has exposed a deeper issue, the economics of modern warfare. Interceptor missiles used in advanced defense systems can cost millions of dollars each, while many of the drones and missiles being used in attacks are significantly cheaper to produce. This creates a growing imbalance. Defenders are forced to spend far more resources to counter relatively low-cost threats. Over time, this disparity raises serious questions about sustainability, particularly in a prolonged conflict. Meanwhile, Iran's ability to continue launching attacks despite sustained U.S. and Israeli strikes has surprised many observers. Even after significant damage to its military infrastructure and leadership, the country has maintained operational capacity. Recent intelligence assessments suggest that Iran's leadership structure remains intact, with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps consolidating power and continuing to coordinate regional operations. At the same time, reports indicate that Iran may be receiving external support, including satellite intelligence and technological assistance, which could be enhancing the precision and effectiveness of its strikes. Amid these developments, U.S. President Donald Trump has strongly defended the effectiveness of American military operations while expressing frustration with international allies. He said, "Everything is gone. Their leaders are gone." He added, "We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days." Expressing concern over allied support, he stated, "I think NATO is making a very foolish mistake," and emphasizing the perceived threat from Iran. He warned nobody wants to have Iran with a nuclear because these people are crazy. These remarks come as the United States continues to push for greater international involvement in securing key shipping routes and stabilizing the region, particularly the Strait of Hormuz. Despite claims of success, the battlefield reality appears far more complex. Iran has demonstrated an ability to adapt its strategy, focusing on high-value targets and exploiting weaknesses in existing defense systems. The conflict has also expanded beyond the Gulf, with Iraq emerging as another major flashpoint. Baghdad has experienced a series of explosions, drone incursions, and airstrikes targeting both military and diplomatic locations. In one particularly striking development, footage has surfaced showing a drone flying deep in the U.S. Embassy compound, one of the most heavily fortified areas in the country. Although the footage cannot be independently verified, it underscores the growing reach of drone warfare and the challenges of defending against it. At the same time, multiple explosions have been reported across the Iraqi capital, including airstrikes targeting buildings associated with Iran-backed groups. In one such incident, several people were killed as fires and smoke spread across the targeted area. The U.S. Embassy itself has also come under renewed attack, with air defense systems intercepting some incoming drones, while others reportedly penetrated defenses. Nearby, a drone strike hit a major hotel housing diplomatic personnel and international workers. While no casualties were reported in that particular incident, the message was unmistakable. No location is beyond reach. What is becoming increasingly clear is that this conflict is not just about military strength in the traditional sense. It is about systems, the interconnected networks of sensors, defenses, and infrastructure that enable modern warfare. By targeting radar systems, command networks, and energy infrastructure, the conflict is reshaping the battlefield. The implications extend far beyond the region. The disruption of oil production and shipping routes has already had a significant impact on global markets, with energy prices rising sharply and economic uncertainty increasing. As the war continues, a critical question is emerging. Can advanced defense systems keep pace with the evolving nature of modern threats? If low-cost drones can disable high-value radar systems, if expensive interceptor missiles fail to stop incoming threats, and if critical infrastructure remains vulnerable despite sophisticated defenses, then the balance of power may be shifting. For countries in the Gulf, located just minutes away from potential launch sites, the margin for error is shrinking rapidly. Reaction times are limited, costs are rising, and the pressure on defense systems is increasing. This is no longer just a battle of weapons. It is a test of strategy, resilience, and sustainability. And as the conflict intensifies, the question is no longer whether the balance of power will change, but how quickly that shift is already underway.